I absolutely loved Alan Wake 2, the atmosphere, the story. I can honestly say Alan Wake 2 is the first horror game in a long, long while to officially scare me, and I loved every single time it did. Let's address why Nerd Nation has been missing for so long, and honestly, it's life. I started the channel as a hobby spearheaded by my wife insisting. She got tired of listening to me talk at ear, or so she said. Open a channel so you can be somebody else's problem. I will try to be a lot more consistent in uploads. I do hope I didn't let any of you down because I had some friends and fans who have really supported me, and I just want to say thank you so very much. It means a lot. So, enough of all that. Let's talk about why Alan Wake 2 is the sleeper hit of 2023 and why it is the combination of the growth Remedy has made as a studio. And please, if you're new here and you want to stick around, I will appreciate a like. And if you're feeling generous, hey, go ahead and subscribe. Alan Wake 2 is a 2023 survival horror game developed by Remedy and published by Epic. It's a sequel to the 2010 Alan Wake and the very short American Nightmare. Story follows Alan Wake, best-selling author who is trapped in an alternate dimension called the Dark Place for 13 years. I loved playing Alan Wake 1. I even enjoyed the sequel, American Nightmare. Yes, it was short, and I think some people had a problem with the loops. I had no problem with it. I love anything that has to do with time distortion, woven into its plot. But there was something that always confused me about Alan Wake. It always felt like a game that was a bit confused. It didn't know exactly which genre to follow. It felt like an action-adventure game with horror elements sprinkled in. And I think that confusion never let the game truly live up to its potential. But Alan Wake 2 dives headfirst into the survival horror genre. So hard that I have to say, Alan Wake 2 gave me the chills. And this is me. Like me. Someone who has practically become numb due to consuming so much horror content since I was a child. In this video, I'm going to tell you why Alan Wake 2 is the creepiest game of the year. I like to always start off with performance when discussing a game. I think gamers have gotten a lot whinier over the years. I know because I'm part of those whiners. But I have a general policy when it comes to bugs. As long as it's not some game-breaking bug that hinders progression or some bug that wipes your save file, I'd always roll with the punches. I don't mind an occasional T-pose or falling through the floor. It even makes good content, so it never really bothers me. You can tell where all this is going. Alan Wake has some bugs, but nothing crazy. My real problem comes from the Not Light engine and how demanding it is. Look, I played Alan Wake 2 on a computer with 2080 graphics card, and the engine is just not well optimized for how it looks graphically. Get a better computer, right? The engine doesn't just feel optimized. I have very, very rudimentary knowledge of game engines, and the Not Light engine puts way too much strain on the PC. This is with me turning down LOD, definitely turning off ray tracing, and the game can barely hit 60 FPS with texture pop-ins all over the place. And yes, I ran it on an SSD. I would really love to see Alan Wake 2 on a 4090 card. With all that said, Alan Wake 2 looks good. Remedy games have a specific style they always go for, and I love it. It almost has this tint of desaturation to them. It's really cool. All I can say is probably get Alan Wake on console, or just let the 4090 squad enjoy full traced Alan Wake on PC.
Next on Alan Wake. I need to escape before I lose my mind.
Let's talk about the story, which is probably the strongest point of the game. Slam Lake is a is a trippy dude. I don't know how he writes his stories, constantly evolving the narrative while keeping the core concept intact. Let me tell you a joke. I feel like there are some people in the gaming industry who probably failed at Hollywood and then crossed over into gaming. And Sam Lake looks like that guy. I must say I was disappointed Alan Wake did away with the recaps, previously from Alan Wake. And that goes into like summarizing the previous mission. I really liked it. It was a cool touch. So Alan Wake 2 picks up 13 years later, where Saga Anderson, played by Melanie Bird, with her partner Sam Lake, come over to the same Bright Falls to investigate a murder of Robert Nightingale. This leads them down a rabbit hole of a cult called the Cult of the Tree. That should have been the biggest red flag. Which cult actually calls themselves a cult? This also leads them to find out that this cult is trying to resurrect a certain missing author. I have to stop here before giving any more spoilers, but mostly because some parts of the game story are still tripping me up, and I absolutely loved it. I'm telling you, Alan Wake 2 is top 10. Heck, top 5, one of the most well-written game plots. I know, sounds like hyperbole, and I'm just excited, but the characters are so three-dimensional. The performance is so well done. I'm someone that hates when Hollywood comes over into gaming to snatch up awards and roles, but just go ahead and give Saga that award. I don't know if best character nomination has to be one per game, but El Cavilli, who plays Wake, also did really well. There are so many things in gaming that irk me. I know, whiny gamer, but I have been someone who never really likes real footage being blended into gameplay. It sounds irrelevant, but I just like things being separate. Let games be games, let movies be movies. But my God, Remedy has found a way to make it work here. Look, Remedy has always done this, but they take it to 100 in Alan Wake, and it worked flawlessly. There are moments the game shifts to real life footage that have some exceptional performances. My wife kept saying, "So you started a new show without me? So you started," and I'm like, "No, this is not a new show. This is still just Alan Wake." I'm going to go off topic here. This is a public service announcement to Netflix. Please, guys, throw some millions at Remedy and adapt their entire gaming ensemble. Look, you have Quantum Break. Now, already has a series, yes, tied to it that wasn't so great, but it could be better. You have Control that can double as a superhero show. And then you have Alan Wake that has potential to be the new Twin Peaks or the new X-Files. Just like the Last of Us series that has Neil Druckmann to do the heavy lifting when it comes to writing, you have Sam Lake that will write the best shit ever. You don't even need to worry about casting. Remedy has already done the heavy lifting of casting literally the best actors for the role. Just look at that guy that is Wallindo out of nowhere, killing that role. Like, I was so surprised. You don't even need for them to shoot a screen test. There's actual footage that was shot for the games. And if you insist on the actor playing Alan is not big enough, hey, throw in my boy Keanu and let's get on with it. He's already rocking the look. Alan Wake could be taken to Broadway. It actually made me watch a musical number. I can't stand those things. It's one of the reasons I'm no longer excited for Joker Part 2. But my God, Alan Wake made me want to sing along to the old gods of Asgard. Like, Austin to the never-ending night. Oh, I loved it. I could ramble on and on. You get the picture. I love the story of Alan Wake, and what the hell was that ending? I don't even want Remedy to clear up that ending. You don't need to explain what it means. It's Santa Monica who won't tell us who blew the horn of God of War. The bastards. You don't need to tell us what the ending meant. Just leave us internet detectives to speculate away. I think I spent too long talking about the story, but let's move on to the gameplay. One of the things I hate, I know, so many things I hate, but one of the things I hate about artsy fartsy games, I'm doing air quotes, is they go super hard on creating artistic experiences and then the gameplay suffers, which is supposed to be the most important thing in making a game. It's one of the reasons I don't like Quantic Dream games, or one of the reasons I was never really drawn to Death Stranding. Yes, I get it, Kojima, don't demonetize me. But let's say the truth, it was a beautiful experience, but it was lacking in the fun gameplay department. I really believe you should take the artistic freedom that gaming offers. It's one of the things I love about the medium. But you can't lose the fun department. And it's not impossible. There are games like, Journey, heck, Last of Us. They do really nice artistic experiences, but they have the fun gameplay to back it up. That's one of the things that makes me like Alan Wake 2. It balances these two things really, really well. Alan Wake is a basic survival horror game in the same vein as Resident Evil. You control either Saga or Alan at different parts of the game. But in all honesty, this game is Saga's game through and through, with Alan Wake offering writing credits, if you get what I mean. It goes hard on the survival horror theme. You know the drill: scarce ammo, environmental puzzles that hinder movement to certain areas and that you can also backtrack to. You get to fight enemies called Taken, and these enemies need a light source mainly from your torchlight that makes them vulnerable to gun attacks. The gameplay of Alan Wake has remained in line with its predecessor, with the notable change being the shift to survival horror. I just have to say, horror games don't scare me. I've seen so much horror shit and gotten a bit numb to it. The problem with scary games for me is they still follow the principles of video games, which is get into an environment, defeat enemies, save, rinse, repeat. Although Mr. X or Alien scare the shit out of me with their unpredictable nature. But most scary games don't scare me because once you take out the enemies in an area, the threat is gone. You could almost chill, have some ice cream. There is literally no more dread. So still your resolve for those brief enemy encounters and you will be good. And Awake does away with this system. Since it's a fictional story that bends reality, it never lets up with the scares. You could be in a well-lit walkway, open a door, and get a nasty jump scare by the dark presence. In fact, there are missions that don't have one single enemy encounter that still freaks me out. Coupled with the phenomenal sound design, I have never been so scared of an amusement park because the constant creaks from the rundown Ferris wheel is no joke. The protagonist experience is pretty much split. Saga feels a lot more actiony. She has the coolest guns, the best fight sequences. Alan is a bit more trippier and scarier, with some really nice, well thought out puzzle system. The way you get a new narrative thread that goes on to shift the environment and progress the story is just so genius. I don't even know who I enjoyed more because Saga has those stash boxes and children art that have been left behind for you to solve. I loved solving those cult stashes and children poems. I can swear that 80% was solved by me and the remaining 20% I had to look up. Now, with every game that is really so good, if you want to be objective, it's going to have issues. So let's talk about it. The enemy variety isn't so much, and it could really, really use a bump. The boss battles are few and far in between, but it could also use some addition. If I'd say my biggest issue will be the combat. Now, I like the basic combat that is introduced, which is you shine your torch, you shoot the enemy, and all that. You weave and dodge out. I don't have a problem with it. My problem is the combat never really evolves. And I'm not talking about getting a new gun or a new shotgun. I'm talking about real evolution. I am talking about maybe you pick up a lantern that you can stick to your waist that protects you permanently, or you get a better lamp that supersedes the torch, or a double dodge, something that just, mixes up the gameplay and shows the evolution. It was also criminal that the lamp Alan picks up doesn't become some Gandalf level you shall not pass weapon that chases all the shadows away. There is an upgrade system granted for both Saga and Alan. You pick up scraps for Saga and words of power for Alan, but it kind of feels like these upgrades don't do much. Yes, there is reduced reload speed for shotguns, increased fire rates for pistols, but except you are heading into hard difficulty, you're pretty much equipped to finish that game, upgrades or not. They don't, yeah, they make the game more convenient, but they never really seem like important upgrades. I also loved how sprawling the environments are, which felt like a waste because there were no side missions to take advantage of this sprawling environment. Something Control did really, really well. Can you imagine a side mission involving Thor and Odin that would probably lead to maybe you being like the third member of the group singing a song to destroy some dark entity? That would really be cool. I just have to say, Alan Wake was such a phenomenal experience. It checked off every wish list I had for a sequel. One of the things with the current resurgence of horror is we are still pretty much relying on Capcom to do the heavy lifting. But playing this game, I can say Resident Evil should watch its back. If I could sum up Alan Wake 2, I would say it is peak atmospheric horror. I do feel the digital only release kind of took the wind out of the sails of the game. I still don't know why that was done. Epic. But that could not hold the game back from being absolutely incredible. I'm just going to say something that is going to break some Alan Wake fans. Baldur's Gate is going to win Game of the Year. For God's sake, Catman coupled a PC to just play it. But Alan Wake 2 should win Best Audio Design, Best Art Direction, Best Performance, and Best Narrative. Easily. Yes, I'm biased. I agree. Yeah, it should. I will say I'm not so hot with the whole connecting universes thing. I think it's been overdone in today's media. So what do we call this one? The controversy or the Alan verse? I don't even know. It does open up some interesting possibilities story-wise. Either way, Remedy has made the definitive horror game for the ninth generation of consoles, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't. I'm so glad to be back making content again. I really, really missed it. You know, the constant insecurity of, is your video good enough? The hypertension that comes with you watching the like and view counter like a hawk, you know, or the constant comments telling you how you suck. I love every aspect of it, and I promise I will be a lot more consistent this time. So if you're still here, I really, really appreciate it. And hey, let's go ahead, like, share, subscribe, all that great thing. Eyes out. Peace.